card game. We're going to do a two-player joust, and we're going to walk through the game, learn about the rules, how the game is played, get a feel for this great little card game of intrigue, betrayal and epic battles. Okay, we're going to have a little look at the rule book here, and we're going to take a look at the setup. I'm going to take on the role of two players. We're going to play House Baratheon versus House Targaryen. I've made the decks from the core set, plus a few little expansions here and there, so you may see some little interesting cards popping up during the course of the game that don't come with the core set. But hopefully that'll make it a little bit more interesting for you to watch, and you can see the kind of cards that you can get when you do expand. Okay, so I'm going to play both roles in the game, but I'll play them as if it was a challenge, not biased to one side or the other, and we'll just see how the decks play out, how the game plays out, and hopefully give you guys an idea of what this game is all about. It's the multiplayer game is very, very different to the joust. No, the basic rules are the same, but there's this multiplayer element where you use these different title cards. We won't be looking at that in the joust. I've never not played more than two player, so I can't tell you much about it. But hey, let's have a crack at this two player game, which we call a joust. First thing you do during setup is separate your house deck and your plot deck. The plot deck consists of 7 cards from which you can choose a plot each round of the game. So there's one for Baratheon here and one for Targaryen, each of 7 cards. And I've got a house deck for each house. Each house has a house card. It's pretty good because it has a round sequence on there as well, so it helps you play through the game as well as having a function within the game itself. So these I've already shuffled, so you shuffle these as part of your setup, and then you draw a hand of 7 cards. Let's have a look and see what each house has drawn. So for Baratheon, we have Robert's Loyalists, Shadow's Blessing, Narrow Sea, Distinct Mastery, Brienne of Tarth, and Melisandre, and finally Milk of the Poppy. For House Targaryen, we've drawn Daenerys Targaryen, Jogo, Bones of a Child, Ricaro's Arak, Drogo's Horde, Khal Drogo's Tent, and the Dothraki Handmaiden. The next thing during setup is you place your setup cards. We'll do this for Baratheon first. When placing your setup cards, you can place up to 5 gold's worth of characters or locations. Okay, this is pretty tough for the House Baratheon actually. They've got an event card here and 2 attachments, so we've got 3 characters and 1 location that we can play. We've only got 5 gold for our setup, remember, so we can't play 2 of these, we can only play 1. Okay, it's no big deal, we're trying to learn the game, we're doing a walkthrough, so I'm going to play Melisandre and Narrow Sea during setup for House Baratheon. House Targaryen, 2 attachments, neither of them have set up, so we can't play these. There's a keyword on some of these kind of cards that would say set up here, which means you can play them during the setup, but neither of these do, so we're limited to characters and locations. We have Khal Drogo's Tent. This would be a good card to play, but we would have to play it as a location. There's some text here that says you may choose to play it as an attachment to your house card. That's handy if there's events which impact locations. I don't know, maybe you have to discard a location. This Khal Drogo's Tent would be unaffected because we could play it as an attachment. So if I choose to play it in setup, I get the benefit of the card, but I don't get the benefit of having played it as an attachment. Drogo's Hoard is too expensive. And we've got a character worth 3 and another character worth 3. So for 5 there, I might be wise to play 1 location, the Dothraki Handmaiden, and one of these 2 characters. I think I'll play Jogo because he has stealth, and stealth will let Jogo avoid one of the opponent's character's cards in a challenge. So I'm going to go for that. Chances are Daenerys Targaryen is going to come out anyway during my marshalling phase. Okay, I'm just thinking about how to set this board up. Because we're short of space, what I was going to do is play the active plot cards here in this little spot, but what I might do is put the active plot on the top there, and then when it's discarded I'll do like this, and that means then I can grab a little bit more space, and I'm going to put locations in this little spot here so we can distinguish them from characters. Okay. So we have Baratheon characters here, Targaryen characters here, our house decks, our plot decks, and our locations, and these are our hands. We can put character discards and killed characters in this little spot here. Okay. The final act of the setup is to draw from our house decks to put 7 cards back in our hand. So House Baratheon has 5 cards, and we'll draw 2 more. He draws Melisandre and Banner for the Storm. House Targaryen has 4 cards, so we'll draw 3 more. Quarthing Fanatic, Drogo's Hoard, and Wedding Feast.